Josh Heupel was asked about the whole situation on Monday. First, does he regret giving Boo Carter a second chance back in July? And then secondly, should he have been on the availability injury report the past month in SEC play? Here's what Josh Heupel said on Monday.
I'm regretful. At the end of the day, it's our job as coaches to try to help mold these guys, and that's a part of the commitment that you make, in the recruiting process and when they decide to come. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and at the end of the day, we're moving forward. No, sir. Not based on our trainers.
So it's been drama for a while with Boo Carter. It seems to be some drama on the way out of the door, but at the end of the day, Brent Hubbs, Boo Carter has not really been a factor for Tennessee football this year, and he's certainly not moving forward. He's no longer on the football team.
Yeah, and I think Josh Heupel's point was, we're moving on, and he was trying to get in and out of there as quickly as he could, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you give a guy multiple chances, Austin, and sometimes those second chances pay big dividends for you. And I could sit here and do a laundry list of names of guys who got second opportunities and they capitalized on it and went on and had really good careers at Tennessee. And some of them even made it to the National Football League and made a lot of money there. There are other guys where you gave them multiple chances and they didn't take advantage of it. And at some point you have to move on from that. And that's exactly where Tennessee is with Boo Carter. You can debate as long as you want to about whether he got too many chances, whether they extended the opportunity for too long during the season. Those are all fair things, but none of us are also surprised that Boo Carter is putting out his narrative in this situation either.
No, not at all. I mean, you're going to have two different sides. Obviously, Boo's going to talk about he was injured, but he wasn't so injured that he couldn't field punts on Thursday during practice. I think he knew he wasn't going to play, just like he didn't play against Oklahoma. That was going to hurt their narrative when it comes to finding a new school because, why was he not playing? Well, his justification was he was injured. He's injured. But he was never on an availability report. And if you're not on the availability report, that means that you're available, which means the medical professionals have deemed you as such. So was he, dinged up? Did he have the hip flexor? I'm sure he did. I'm sure he is dinged up. Most players on the roster are if you play. And so at the end of the day, I think Boo was trying to find his next home, and the narrative needed to be crafted, and they used the little, the little hip deal as the reason why. And, at the end of the day, he's moving on. Tennessee's moving on from him, and, both sides need a good divorce.
Rob, nothing really changes in terms of, Tennessee's going about things. Again, he hadn't played defense in a little bit. Tennessee, I mean, he returned a couple of punts against ETSU and UAB, but he's not been returning punts. If I asked Brent this in the Rocky Top Rewind the other night, if, say, Jalen McMurray needed to be spelled a couple of plays, maybe he went down, or something, what would they do at the start position? Maybe bringing Caleb Beasley in, maybe entertaining, Colton Hood there for a little bit. But for the most part, nothing's changing in terms of football losing Boo Carter off this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it best. I mean, Eric, off the top, he's just not been that much of a factor. And I'm not trying to hate on the kid at all, but I mean, the reality is if he'd been from an hour south, like from Alpharetta instead of Chattanooga, I mean, it wouldn't have been nearly this kind of story that it has been. I mean, based off, his production here, if he had been an in-state kid from an hour and a half down the road. But I mean, Hubbard, I go back to what you said. I mean, how many times have you seen it where it just didn't work out with guys? And you hate it in this case because the kid is clearly talented. I mean, that's not the issue. And
yeah, that's exactly right. And look, I mean, new address for him. He may turn out and get things together and be a really good player. I would advise him to this, and he doesn't need any advice from me. Wherever he lands, the first thing he's got to do is he's got to learn to be a better teammate. And we talked about this, I guess, on the rewind on Sunday night. You can do a lot of things, Austin. You guys can get in trouble, and Rob, you know this too, and Eric, so do you. You've been in locker rooms. You can do things to get in trouble and have issues off the field that doesn't affect your teammates, and your teammates are okay with it. If you can play and you're talented, they'll defend you on a lot of things that you do. But when you cross that line, or when you do things that directly affect your relationship with your teammates, because you broke the bond of not competing with them or not doing the same thing that they're required to do. It changes. It changes things. And I'll give this team credit. I don't think this team, Austin, really let it bother them. I think they just kind of moved. I think they moved on from him a lot quicker than everybody else moved on from him and just said, whatever. But everything changes when you do things as a teammate that affects the locker room because you're not competing with those guys or you're not putting in the same amount of work that those guys are putting in. That's different than having an off the field issue and getting into some kind of trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the team learned a long time ago they couldn't count on Boo Carter, and he was still out there, so they made the best of it. But I don't think that they're phased by any of this. I don't think that they were phased by anything that he did the last couple of months. And you're right. I mean, players get past a lot of things. They don't let a lot of that stuff bother them unless it directly impacts them. And when he decided to go AWOL in July, I think at that point most of this team was on the whatever mode when it comes to Boo Carter, and so I don't think that they're feeling this one iota.